Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of AEW Dynamite for August the 4th, 2021. This was a special homecoming edition of AEW Dynamite back at Daly's place. Hopefully for the last time for a long time, but we'll see. Who knows with the state of the world right now. Anyways, shout out to the chat room. Thank you for watching live, and thank you to everybody that is watching this on demand as well. Let's go ahead and get started with the recap. We kicked off with a big match. Chris Jericho, his, I think, fourth stage of labor, or fifth, maybe third. I'm not even sure at this point. Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera. Yes. Seeing a classic rivalry rekindled in 2021. Of course, Jericho and Juventud going back to the days of WCW. Juventud wore a lucha mask for the occasion. I was kind of hoping we would get Lionheart Chris Jericho for this match, but it was in fact normal 2021 Chris Jericho. And there was a funny sign in the crowd, MJF likes fish sticks. MJF came down for commentary, ripped up a fan's sign, and we had our match, which was a bit underwhelming. I mean, Juventud, I'm not sure how many matches he's been in over the past decade, but he did seem a little bit off, and the two of them were off with some of the moves, but the nostalgia got them through, and it did pick up towards the end. The storyline of the match was that Chris Jericho had to win by hitting a move off the top rope, and Jericho would instinctively go for a pinfall, but the referee had to notify him that he had to win with a move off the top. And Juvi attempted a Hurricane Rana off the top, which Jericho countered into the walls of Jericho, so I guess that counts. Juventud, though, got to the ropes, and then Juvi hit the Juvi driver. Jericho kicked out of that. Jericho hit the Judas effect, but he still had to hit that move off the top. So he went to the top, hit the Judas effect off the top, and scored the 1-2-3 victory over a very game Juventud Guerrera. And after the match, Wardlow came in, attacked Jericho, and then attacked Juvi for good measure, hit him with the F10, and then it was announced by MJF that Wardlow would in fact be the next opponent for Jericho. And on top of that, MJF will be the special guest referee for that match between Jericho and Wardlow on next week's episode of Dynamite. Walter Cruz says, not looking forward to Wardlow versus Jericho. We had Pentagon and Phoenix backstage with Andrade, and they basically turned down Andrade's offer to join him, and there was a follow-up to this later. We had Hangman Adam Page meeting up with the Dark Order backstage, and Page apologized for losing the match last week, meaning himself and the Dark Order no longer will be getting title opportunities. And he said that he needs to handle things his own way, basically saying that their partnership, Page and the Dark Order, their union is going to be done for now. We had a 6-man tag team match, which was Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley, and Darby Allin, with Sting in their corner, up against Daniel Garcia and the Team 2.0, formerly known as Everrise in NXT, making their AEW debut. And this was a fun match, fun little showcase match here. And you had You had Matt Lee, who was marking out for Sting, and Darby Allin took advantage of that. That was a fun moment. And Moxley got the hot tag. He hit the paradigm shift to Garcia, and then Darby Allin came off the top with the coffin drop and scored the 1-2-3 victory. I want to see more of this trio. I thought that they were a nice team together. Maybe even add Sting to the mix at some point. You could do the Elite versus these four. That would be a fun match at some point. So yeah, like seeing these guys together, and hopefully we get more of them in the future. And Colin Andrews says Eddie Kingston made that little kid's day during their entrance. Indeed, he did. We had a video package hyping up Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. And then we had the Elite backstage. And apparently, even though they're not getting AEW Tag Team title match, it looks like the Dark Order will get an opportunity for the Impact Wrestling Tag Team titles against Anderson and Gallows. And Nick and Matt talked about how there are no tag teams left for them to face. And Kenny Omega said that Hangman Adam Page blew it, and now the fans don't have a world title main event. And while he was cutting this promo, he was wearing a Cookie Monster t-shirt. I wonder if Omega will wear a Chick Magnet t-shirt on next week's Dynamite. We had Christian Cage versus The Blade. Basically a showcase match for Christian, building him up. Bunny interfered early on, grabbing Christian's leg, and that led to Layla Hirsch attacking Bunny to set up their match for later in the show. And you guys know what time that match takes place. I don't even have to tell you, you know. And Christian came off the top to the outside onto the Blade. The crowd chanted, "You still got it." Blade had a little bit of offense, hit a power slam, got a near fall. And then he went for his brass knucks, which he had hidden in the turnbuckle pad. However, Christian caught him with the spear, picked up the 1-2-3 victory. The announcers teased that he might be getting a world title match, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. We had a video package for FTR versus Santana and Ortiz. And of course, last week, Cash Wheeler was cut open, and Dax Harwood said that this feud between them is far from over. Walter Cruz in the chat says, "Love Christian, but I do not see him dethroning Omega." And neither do I. I think that Christian's a nice opponent for Omega until they have somebody else to challenge Omega for that title. And I think we all know who that person is. We had Britt Baker in the ring for an interview with Tony Schiavone. And Maud W says, maybe Flair versus Omega? No. I know you're kidding, but that ain't going to happen. Britt Baker interviewed, talked about winning the Women's Championship in Jacksonville, but she was quickly interrupted by Red Velvet. Red Velvet basically wants a match with Britt Baker, talked about how her win-loss record has improved since the last time they wrestled against each other. And Britt did agree to it, but it would have to be in her hometown on the very first episode of Rampage. So there you go. We have our main event for the first Rampage. Britt Baker in her hometown defending the title against Red Velvet. And Rebel tried to use a crutch on Velvet, and Britt took a cheap shot at Red Velvet to set up their match for the first Rampage on Friday the 13th. Anthony says that Doc Gallows was wearing a Ric Flair robe. Maybe that's a tease that he's coming to AEW. I did not pick up on that one. I picked up on the Cookie Monster shirt, but I might have done that whether CM Punk was coming to AEW or not. Gary Joe says, once upon a time, somebody had a Cookie Monster line, which was Punk. So yeah, I think it was pretty obvious where that tease was going. But yeah, I did not catch that thing with Doc Gallows in the robe. We had Chavo Guerrero with Andrade backstage saying that he found somebody to work for Andrade, and that was Fuego del Sol. And they wanted him to shine Andrade's shoes, which he was upset about. He thought that he was actually going to wrestle with Andrade or something like that. Andrade beat the crap out of him, and that was that. Domestic Butler with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, hi from the UK. Well, shout out, because it's pretty late in the UK right now. I appreciate you tuning in to the recap way over there in the UK. We had Tony Schiavone interviewing Adam Page in the ring, but he was quickly interrupted by the Elite. Page said he had something that he's been wanting to say for a while, and Omega responded by saying he thinks that Page wants to rejoin the Elite. Omega said Page is a try-hard, like the people, and said that the Elite doesn't have failures in their group. Page responded by slapping Omega. He got attacked. They hit the magic killer to Page. And then the Dark Order ran down to make the save. However, Evil Uno and Stu Grayson stopped the other guys from making the save because they wanted to respect Page's wishes. He said that they're off on their own. They're going their separate ways. And Page got taken out, several BTE triggers. Kazarian attempted to make the save, but he got overwhelmed. And then Omega held up the title and said that Page is getting one last look at something he's never going to possess. And then Omega took out Adam Page with the AEW World Championship. Some people think this is the end of Page for a while. Maybe he's going to be off TV. He's going to be a father soon. I guess we'll have to wait and see if he shows up again at some point. We had a promo from Dan Lambert, who was on Dynamite several weeks ago, and he's still pissed off about Lance Archer, and he's coming to Dynamite next week, and he will be bringing some backup. Interesting. We had Miro defending the TNT title against Lee Johnson, and nobody expected Lee Johnson to win this match, but the upstart, it's the typical match. The upstart has a good showing against the dominant champion, which he did. Miro went for the game over, but Lee escaped to the outside. Johnson hit some dives on Miro later on in the match. Hit a top rope crossbody. Miro powered out of that, and he hit several super kicks. He finally got Miro down. Went for a frog splash, but Miro kicked out of that, and then Miro finally said game over, picked up the submission win over a very game Lee Johnson. We had another advertisement for Rampage. The announcers were revealed for this show. They will be Excalibur, Taz, Mark Henry, and Chris Jericho. They are doing a 4-person commentary team for Rampage, at least for the first show. Seems like a lot of cooks in the kitchen. I've been critical about 3-person teams, but they're doing 4. We'll see how this works. Maybe they can make it a success, but yeah, that seems like an awful lot. Colin Andrews says too many cooks in the kitchen, and he would know a thing or two about a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Walter says, what time is Rampage? It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock Eastern, so it will be right after AEW, or not AEW, SmackDown goes off the air. We had the revelation that Christian Cage will be the new #1 contender for the world title, and he's coming back to cement his legacy. He's going to win championships. He will be in Pittsburgh, and he said he's better than good. He is elite. And Curtis Butler wonders if Excalibur is leaving Dynamite. That I don't know. I mean, it's possible, but I think Excalibur is good on Dynamite. I would not remove him from the show. Like, to me, you got JR and Tony Schiavone there, and they add to it. Some people think JR is past his prime. I really think it's Excalibur that's the backbone of the commentary team, being the guy that's familiar with the current generation of guys. So I think it would be a mistake to remove Excalibur from Dynamite. We'll see what they do. We had the Bunny versus Layla Hirsch right there, smack dab, 9:30 p.m. You know, it's the spot for the women's matches. It happens all the time. Michael Wayne is like letter grade down, and I mean, it's just nitpicking. I don't care if it's at 9:30, but it would be nice if they changed it up. I mean, Dynamite's usually pretty good about being somewhat unpredictable, but they've developed a pattern with that 9:30 spot. So yeah, it would be nice if they changed it around more. And we seem to only get one women's match on every Dynamite also. I think we had, for all the complaints about Raw, I think we had like 3 women's matches on Raw this week, or at least 3 segments with the women on Raw. Maybe 4. So anyways, another standard match here, although there was a stipulation with the winner getting an opportunity at the NWA Women's Champion, Camille. And she was there. She was there at ringside. TJS with the $3 super chat, of course, jumping ahead, going off topic. Could not wait another 2 minutes to send in the super chat, but thank you, TJS. Says the main event segment felt like a Raw ending, lame. And some of you might wonder why I don't just answer the super chat later. The reason is my screen gets updated on a regular basis with messages, and I have to scroll up and try to find the message, and sometimes I end up missing it completely because you can only scroll up so far on YouTube. So I do ask you guys again, as a request, to please try to send your super chats in for the time that I'm talking about what you want me to comment on. I would appreciate that if possible. If not, I understand, but it would be appreciated if you could do that. Anyways, back to the match here. We had the Hardy family office out there. We had the best friends out there to counteract the bad guys. And Bunny hit a DVD. Layla Hirsch kicked out of it. And then Layla made a comeback. She tapped out the Bunny with an arm submission. And then Camille was invited into the ring. She got in the ring. And let's just say that she looked like the Great Khali standing next to Layla Hirsch. So they're really going for the, like Khali versus Rey Mysterio vibe for this match coming up for the NWA Women's Championship. And just looking at Camille, and I've seen her in the NWA watching Power and all that, like she's another one that AEW could really benefit from. I know that they're signing a lot of people, but Camille looks very intimidating and looks like a star. So we'll see if they can pick her up at some point. I mean, Layla Hirsch, she seems like a great athlete and all that stuff, but like it's hard to take her serious when most of the women completely tower over her. But maybe she can be the female Rey Mysterio and she can make it work. We'll have to see. Time will tell on that. I mean, Rey Mysterio was just one of those once-in-a-generation guys that could overcome the small stature and make it work and be somewhat believable in there with the big people. Mike B with the $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Mike B. Says, rumor has it that the Bunny's son, Rambling Rabbit, is going to join AEW to join his mom under the name Rambling the Rabbit. Hey, I'm all for it if they want to bring in a knockoff Rambling Rabbit, but I'm pretty sure that the Rabbit is WWE copyright and they're not going to be able to bring in that persona, but he should have a rabbit. Why not? Maybe a real life rabbit as a mascot. We had Damien, we had Frankie the Bird, we had Matilda the Bulldog. Why not have a rabbit? Curtis Butler says the lame comedy in the chat is just outstandingly stupid. Well, Curtis Butler, let's hear a better joke from you and show everybody how it's done. We had Smart Mark and Jade Cargill talking about why she's been, well, not on TV, and they said they've been building up her brand. She's been in Hollywood, yada, 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 and she's going to be on a match coming up for Elevation. There you go. If you've been dying to see Jade Cargill, you know where to find her. And then we had the main event of the evening. We had Malakai Black versus Cody Rhodes. Black versus White. Kind of like Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker from WrestleMania. Gabe sent in a $5 super chat. They're still talking about the rabbit here. He says, maybe a rabbit in a cage with a cover on it. Oh, too soon? Is that a reference to Eric Rowan and the Spider? They should definitely not do that again. We don't want to see another rehash of that angle. And my fear is they would just murder the rabbit, just like when Drew McIntyre killed the Spider. Anyways, Malakai Black had an awesome entrance. I mean, really cool entrance. The music was all right. Not as good as his WWE theme, but I liked the entrance. I thought the entrance was really cool with the lighting. They had a shadow of him, and he was wearing this creepy mask with antler horns. And Dustin had a big entrance, or not Dustin, Cody with Dustin. Dustin was there with him, had a big entrance as well. The crowd chanted holy shit, although TNT was trying to censor the holy shit chants. By the way, I did not notice a Domino's pizza ad this week. I did notice a Little Caesars ad. I wonder if Domino's has, in fact, decided to take their business elsewhere and Little Caesars has stepped in. Maybe not, but I did notice that. Domestic Butler sent in a £5, I believe it's pound or euro super chat. Thank you for that. Says, been watching No DQ for 13 years now. Sorry I can't always watch live, but I always watch the next day and give you a thumbs up. Thank you for the work. Appreciate it, Domestic Butler. Maybe you're the long-lost cousin of Curtis Butler, but either way, I thank you for tuning in and leaving the thumbs up. And if you guys are watching this and you enjoy these videos, the thumbs up do come in handy. I do appreciate it. It does help with the view counts. The more likes, it helps YouTube detect that this is a video that people should be watching. So please give those thumbs up on the video and leave a comment on the YouTube page with your thoughts on AEW Dynamite. And I agree with Anthony 100%. Little Caesars way better than Domino's. So we had the match. Black was fighting dirty. He gouged the eyes of Cody, went after the knee. Cody had a little bit of a comeback. He climbed up to the top, and then Black kicked Cody. Cody fell to the outside of the ring, crashed through the ring announce table, Justin Roberts' timekeeper table, whatever you want to call it. And then the crowd started another holy shit chant. They chanted, "This is awesome." And Cody was able to get back in the ring, but it was Domination Nation for Malakai Black. He hit the Black Mass and he pinned Cody with 1 foot on Cody's chest. So a dominant victory for Malakai Black. Reminded me very much of when Cody put over Brody Lee last year. It was very similar to that. I do agree with TJS, annoying that they were trying to censor the crowd. This was great. I mean, this was a really great finish to build up Malakai Black. You know, the complete opposite of what happened with Karrion Kross, where Karrion loses his first match. Malakai Black comes in and dominates Cody in his very first match. That's how you establish somebody. So big thumbs up for this. And then after the match, the doctor came in to check on Cody. Tony Schiavone got in the ring, and Cody basically gave a speech that was teasing retirement. He said he's had a lot of fun over the past 3 years. Tony Khan helped him out. The crowd started chanting, "Na, na, 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 goodbye," but then other fans drowned it out with Cody chants. Cody said that 3 years ago, people were laughing about how AEW was going to start a revolution, but now AEW has become destination viewing. It is, in fact, competition, and they set the table, but now perhaps it's time for new people to eat at the table. Cody said he's been so damn lucky. He referred to Daly's place as the AEW amphitheater. He said he's got zero bitterness. He thanked everyone and said that they made his life incredibly special. He started to get teary-eyed, and then he took off his boots, which of course is a tease that he's retiring. But then Aleister Black came in from behind with a crutch to the back, and the announcers teased that Aleister Black, Malakai Black, has ended the career of Cody Rhodes, which I don't think that's happening. I think Cody has a little something called Go Big Show Season 2 that he's got to film, and we'll see him back. Maybe he'll come back with jet black hair again, looking like he's the head of an emo band or something. But yeah, great angle to end the show. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully Cody doesn't come back and get his win back over at Malakai Black like he did with Brody Lee last year. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with Cody. I did enjoy the final match and segment. That was very well done. Got some super chats to go through here real quick before I do the letter grade. Dylan sent in a very generous $10. Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it. Says, I don't want to hear crap about Cody being compared to Triple H or Jeff Jarrett. They would have never put over someone like that the way Cody just did. Enough of the stupid comparisons because there is none. You're right on that. I mean, when was the last time Triple H lost a match where somebody put 1 foot over him? The last time that I could recall, really the only time I can recall Triple H doing a really decisive, quick job to somebody was the Ultimate Warrior, and that was before he became anything in WWE. You know, that was when he was in the early days of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Like, when did the Game, like when he was arguably at his peak, put over somebody in that fashion? I cannot recall a time. TJS with a $3 super chat. Thank you, TJS. Says, Black is a true heel. Please retire Cody. HHH 2.0. So Tyler going the complete opposite way of Dylan. And Walter Cruz with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, I want to see Black versus Punk remind me of one another. Maybe we will get it at some point. It is certainly a possibility in the future. Now, as far as the letter grade for this show goes, I thought all in all, up until the last match, it was kind of just okay. Like, I probably would have gone as low as a C+ until we had the main event. The main event brought it up a lot, in my opinion. I loved how Malakai Black was dominant. Cody cut a great post-match speech, and then Malakai Black with the crutch to get that heel heat. Excellent ending to the show. So that brought it up enough to where I'm going to give Dynamite a solid B. Definitely check out the Malakai Black Cody stuff if you did not see it. Everything else you could probably skip. I mean, the Page Omega segment was fairly good, and a lot of the matches were fine, but they were basically showcase matches like the Miro match, Christian's match. They were fine, but just showcase matches. Nothing too special. Domestic Butler with a B. Israel Diaz and Nick Glavin give it a B-. Nathan Washington with an A. Mike B with a C+. Looking at some more B's in here. Domestic Butler, Anthony, and Arco give it a B. Dylan says solid B. This was a one-match show. Walter Cruz says solid B, maybe B+, and Cody got me emotional. TJS says thoughts on the acclaimed rap. Max Caster's rap from AEW Dark. I'm a little surprised that it would air on television. They had 6 days to take it off, and they did not. Maybe they did not think that it was going to get the backlash that it did. Now, Tony Khan says that he never heard that rap. He said it was terrible, and perhaps he's telling the truth. Who knows? Maybe he did not hear it. I mean, they tape so much content for Dark. It's conceivable that Tony Khan was busy with something else and did not hear the rap. Although you would think that somebody in AEW management would have heard that and pulled aside Tony Khan and said, you know what, maybe this should not air on Dark. So it's a strange situation, like how that made the final cut, and then they had to take it out because it got backlash. Gary Joe, he's like, thousands of people want the damn Attitude Era back. Get real, snowflakes. And I get that too. He's a heel. Max Caster's a heel. He's trying to get heel heat. He went for some very cheap heat in North Carolina, referencing that rape case from 15 years ago and making fun of Julia Hart for how she smelled, even though Julia's only 19, and I guess that was controversial too. And then he had the line about Simone Biles, which Charlotte Flair also used that as cheap heat. So, yeah, I mean, I really don't think Max Caster should be punished for it. I think ultimately it's AEW's responsibility what they put on television, especially something that they had 6 days to look at and edit and take off. I think, whoever's responsible for making sure Dark has appropriate content should be the one held responsible and should face the backlash. And I guess that could also be one argument to why promos should be scripted more often, because you wouldn't have incidents like this. Richie the Wolf with a $2 super chat says, is Jon Moxley the only tweener in AEW right now? I figured he was just a full-fledged babyface. I never considered Moxley to be a heel. But yeah, it's hard to say. I think for the most part, right now, it's pretty clear who the faces and heels are. For a while with Cody, it was confusing. He would seem to go back and forth depending on the match. But right now, I would say that for the most part, I'm pretty clear who the good guys and good gals are and who the villains are in AEW. I think it's pretty well defined at this point, in my opinion. And yeah, people in the chat room still talking about the Max Caster promo. Domestic Butler says, I just don't want PG wrestling. It's so boring. Money Benny says people are too soft. And no, Domestic Butler, I don't know what's going on with Randy Orton. Hopefully we'll have some answers soon. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I appreciate the viewership and support as always. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay tuned for the next episode of the No DQ review, and I will see you guys next time.